Coronavirus, pandemic, check-in, 2020, end of July. So the $600 extra that people who are unemployed were getting ends in 2 days. I guess they're trying to discuss what the next plan is to help people out. I have even another job. I keep saying this. I've been working the whole time, and it just seems like there's work. There's definitely work. Even if you add up all my jobs, I still probably don't work 40 hours a week, unless you include my art or writing, which I'm really not doing art. I can't remember the last time I did art, but I did go on a trip. I've started my next travel book. So I went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas with the camper last weekend. It was great. When you're out in nature, it's kind of great. They had just passed a statewide mask mandate, and some people wanted to do it and some people didn't. And my snack is ready. So that was like a thing where some shopkeepers didn't want to wear a mask, but they had to put the sign for the customers to wear the mask. So then I just wasn't going in those stores because they're not screwing over the government by breathing on me. That's not how it works. So I think you need to choose your rebellion to fit what you're rebelling against. It's kind of like when people do hunger strikes. It's a little bit of just attention seeking, I think. I don't know. Anyway, the trip was great. I mean, it was beautiful. It was just weird. Like, I would say only 25% of things were actually open in Eureka Springs. And the vibe was cautious / don't tread on me. I don't know. So it was good for me, though. It was good for me, and it's good writing because it's different. Anything different or crazy, it makes for interesting art, interesting writing because it's not every day. I have to say that today's Wednesday. I just felt like just maybe a sense of like dreariness or something. It did rain all day, but kind of this feeling for me is like there really doesn't seem to be an end in sight for this. And I lose myself in having like a perfectly good time a lot of the time. Staying busy. I'm even training for this extra thing that I'm doing. Actually, it's the census, which I was hired for in February, and they're just now doing the training. And I really think it's interesting. Like, I think the census is fascinating and interesting, and it is part of the Constitution. They've been doing it for 200 years. It's law. It's like you're a federal employee if you do it. And it actually helps communities gather the information. You can't give the information to any other government. You can't give it to the INS. You cannot give it to the IRS. It's completely confidential. It's a big deal. And, I didn't know that. I wanted to do the census because my mom did it. And at the time when I got that job in February, I was just looking to make a change, which now I'm not, but here it is. So that's been good for me to be doing that training because it's kind of fascinating, but I don't know how logistically we're supposed to go knock on people's doors because it's kind of like going into the store where if the other person isn't wearing a mask, they say you're not protected. I mean, I guess we could be 6 feet away. Maybe that's good enough. And then I'm outside. But I don't know. They don't know if schools are opening or not. Nobody knows. Some schools that say they're opening, they push back the date. Some of them say no mask requirement. Some of them are like, how do I get my small child to wear a mask? How do you get them to keep it on? So much fighting. There's so much fighting. And I just, I just opened up Facebook for 4 minutes and I'm like, I do get my valuable information that I wouldn't otherwise know from Facebook because people talk about it. I mean, it is a way to discuss current events. And, it's not like every person on my Facebook agrees with each other. Yeah, there's a lot of liberals. I'm an artist slash hippie type, but not everybody. And I have to say that it's what's very weird to me, is that a lot of people that support the president are some of the nicer, more generous people that I know. It doesn't seem to go together. So it's like confusing to me. But I have a lot of respect for a lot of people who think our president is great. So that's confusing to me. Whatever. And that it's all tied up together in the mask thing and in the coronavirus thing and in how it's being handled. And they don't know if they're going to send out another stimulus check. Now there's a change shortage. So now there's signs where it says we don't have enough change. And then people are like, they're trying to get us to go paperless. And by defunding the police, they're trying to do CCTV. And, my joke is, which is now everybody's joke, I didn't come up with it. We don't need a microchip inserted in us because we all carry around our cell phones voluntarily. We gladly, all of my information is on my device and anybody could probably hack into it at any time. And so it's funny to me that people are like, my privacy, unless you're living, off the grid and you don't have if you have a cell phone, shut up, just shut up. You voluntarily are carrying around your location device. So just get over yourself. If you're that worried about it, get rid of your cell phone, go off the grid, bury your money in the dirt. I don't know, grow your own food, whatever. But, so it kind of feels like chaos. Like, I cannot imagine. I would be a disaster if I haven't been working this whole time. I can't imagine how awful it is for people. I do have one friend, and I respect this friend so much. He's such a mover and shaker. And I'm not judging anybody who didn't choose to do this, but and I'm not going to give his name. I kind of got in trouble. Maybe I say a little too much in my writing. I like to write what happens and I don't want anybody to feel like I'm intruding on their privacy or whatever. I usually don't use people's names. But this guy was in the movie industry and was just getting ready to make a ton of money when coronavirus hit. And, he sat around for a while waiting like most people, but then he picked up, moved, got 2 jobs, not in his field because there's nothing in his field, and is working 2 jobs right now and moved to somewhere where when everything gets back to normal, he can shoot movies. He just pulled up his bootstraps and was like, looks like things are changing. I'm going to change with it. And when movies come back, I'll be there to go. I love that guy. I mean, it's like, I love people who can adapt to change, we don't have a choice but to adapt to change right now. It's true. We can't just keep sitting around in our living rooms waiting, collecting money from the government, waiting for coronavirus to leave. But then we also can't throw teachers and students into small quarters, spreading coronavirus to where people are dying. So I don't have an answer. I'm just an observer. I do have some opinions about some things, mostly about fresh brewed iced tea. Thank God Quick Trip opened up again and is selling their fresh brewed iced tea again. And Chipotle, whoo, they got good iced tea. Their iced tea is dark, like my soul. Anyway, I feel better just talking about it. Thank you for being my therapy for today. It is, and you know what? I always think at least we don't have bombs dropping on us. Like the United States, we've been so lucky. We're pretty spoiled. All of the United States is kind of like white privilege. No, I take that back. Please. I almost have to change the whole thing now. I subtract that comment. That is not true. That's not true. What I mean to say is, we don't have bombs dropping on us and we're not standing in line for bags of rice and we aren't having to use leaves for toilet paper. That's what I mean. I mean, we have most people, unless they're poor or homeless, most people have their basic necessities covered. That's what I meant to say. Watch somebody just take out the one segment that I said and turn it into this thing. All right. Well, bye. Thanks for listening.